The Endurance E-Racing World Championship Le Mans 24 Hours is brought to you by ESR Esports Network, Fleet Gaming, SimLab, Yousuf, Simplexity, Acetic, and AMD Ryzen Radio.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Discussing some things in the off.
I did not see the
I may not have been paying attention to the adverts when we came back. Mainly just because we were discussing some things between us about the League of Legends esports stuff. But we requested that we came back to a Titanic battle, and a Titanic battle is here. It's half a second between Daniele Visner and Yousuf Simoncic. But of course, we are here at the Circuit de l'Azur for the 2020 GTR 24H Endurance E-Racing World Championship. I see Ernest Lappins in there as well.
Yep, and we knew that Ernest Lappins would be getting caught. He is on slightly older tyres, and there's probably about 2-3 more laps before these guys pit. And Ernest Lappins, you know, that triple stint is working. So when he pits, he can put himself onto the same kind of strategy as everyone else around him. We'll have to wait and see. Although he's done 2 stints now on his current set of tyres. Everyone else around is on a fresh set of tyres. So you guys can work out how that one works. Yousuf Simoncic, Daniel Wisner, and Ernest Lappins separated by less than 3 seconds.
Yep, indeed. And of course, here to bring you the next hour of action, at least, well, our final hour between myself and Yousuf. Again, it's Alex Skinner and Yousuf on the commentary desk for our final hour. Then we have an instant report coming through.
That's 188 and 888.
So that is Turn Lawyer in the AC Sim Motorsports car. And you said the 188, which would be
Teleforeningen.
Oh, what's that, Pete? So right, what contact's been made between those two then? Is
that's when lapping. Something must have happened. So,
or an unsafe rejoin potentially. Another incident report coming through.
It's the same one. It's lap 36.
So that could be both teams have reported it. So we're getting plenty of reports, but can we get some decisions coming in? Wow. No, not wow. I'm just like trying to make sure.
I'm going to take a look at Michael Sedlacek, who is passing ID SimSport. Has a little look down the inside, but is not going to be able to pull off the move. And there's one of the Aston Martins in the GTE class behind as well. And I think that is a lapped car. ID SimSport in that white and blue livery. And of course, Michael Sedlacek in the white and orange. I actually just realized that's not on screen, so why am I talking about this?
I mean, Peter, get it on stream, please.
Overtake. Oh, never mind. Daniel Wisner is really closing in. No, Peter's smarter than us, guys.
Yeah, Daniele Visner. This is on my screen here. Daniele Visner. Very, very close indeed with Yousuf Simoncic. And very, very close to Ernest Lappins. You can see Lappins actually in shot every so often. And these guys have got traffic ahead of them. The blue flag's flying up ahead. And that is a big, that's actually the fight that's on Yousuf's screen on my right between
which screen now?
Sedlacek and
oh, but here we go. This is really close as we make our way down in towards the Mulsanne hairpin. Look how many cars are ahead, and that's really going to cost Ernest Lappins. No move just yet from Yousuf Simoncic.
Yep, and then you can actually see the Deuce's car has gotten past the ID SimSport car, but here comes Yousuf Simoncic, the First Edge esports driver, the 2019 Formula Sim Racing World Champion, looks to try and make his way past Daniele Visner, two of the most experienced endurance drivers on the platform. Going at it into Indianapolis side by side. Move's not going to be made there, and Visner's not able to get past the Deuce's car. It's going to compromise his exit, may allow Simoncic to have a look. They're both going to go to the outside of the Deuce's car. The Deuce's car is going to have to hit the brakes pretty hard to let Simoncic go, which is going to slow Simoncic up. They've got a hypercar there as well. They've got a couple of hypercars there as well, because that is, I believe, the Viaducton car behind them. No, that's not. That's the 97 car. And then they've also got the race leader Ibrahim Khan behind, which means that the 117 and the 5 are looking to have a very, very busy time with hypercars. They are closing in hand over fifth over Ernest Lappins at the moment. That time, the lap previous to this was a 2-second gain on Ernest Lappins.
Yeah, and actually even through all of that traffic, Ernest Lappins actually lost about a tenth or two. The gap is now 1.3 seconds. And it is still dropping Ernest Lappins ahead of Daniel Wisner and Jurnej Simonček in this three-way battle for the lead of the LMP2 class.
Be interesting to see what happens here indeed.
Also, I'll just give an update. I'm just trying to work out where is our Musto car? Where is our 94 Musto car?
Still in the pit lane.
Yeah, Daniel.
Also, that is very, very close for Jurnej Simonček behind, almost having a Alan McNish-style incident with one of the Corvettes car. I think that was the the DIS Nightmare car. Sorry, the DSR Nightmare car. God, getting confused between the DIS and the DSRs at the moment. But those two getting very close indeed as they came down the hill. And there comes the hypercars behind. And all three can be seen in the same camera shot now. Ernest Lappins going to be sat there hoping that he doesn't get caught too quickly. And of course, Jurnej Simonček hoping that Ibrahim Khan gets past him down the straight and doesn't hold him up too much. Because of course, he will want to catch up to the guys in front of him. But of course, we are with 20 hours and 55 minutes to go, so still plenty of time. No one really going to be pushing too hard, if you get me.
One man though that is pushing a little bit hard is Luca Melio, because he's the fastest man on circuit, over 2 seconds quicker than any of these guys. Also, Mantis Rekas is gaining by almost a second a lap onto Jurnej Simonček, at least on the last lap, and is at 13 seconds behind. So this three-way battle may become a four-way battle over the upcoming hours.
Yep, and we've also just seen that Wisner and Lappins really pushing their way past the Teleforeningen car. That is the GT Callaway Corvette that you just saw. Ibrahim Khan now going past Daniel Wisner and into the Mulsanne hairpin. Not going to be held up too much, but that's a very, very big lockup for the Seawolf Net Race car, but it's not going to hinder anyone at all, and it's going to allow Wisner to still close up to the back of the 17. The Jaws music plays because it's getting very close indeed.
I really wanted to start playing the music again, but I shall refrain myself this time. Martin Hemmingsen actually going green in Sector 1. He's brought the gap to Ibrahim Khan down to 26 seconds. So he's pushing, and also Viaduct, and they've closed in onto Mark Veit, so we might be having a bit of a battle in the hypercar class as well.
It'll be interesting to see. I'm personally going to keep an eye on this LMP2 fight a bit longer because it is a three-way fight for the lead. They have the World of Sim Racing Porsche to lap in front. There goes Ibrahim Khan past said World of Sim Racing Porsche. Of course, that car is actually in 4th place in class at the moment, as these guys will go by into the Porsche curves. Both will dive to the inside. It was a very late dive to the inside by Wisner, but Ernest Lappins had already made it known that he was going through. Simonček getting held behind him, which is never a great sign, but of course, all of these guys managing to make it through cleanly. Yeah, here we go. Potentially, it's so close between these three guys, but it just seems that no one's got the pace advantage over each other at the moment.
Yeah, and it's been some good laps from Daniel Wisner.
Oh, Simonček is in. Simonček is in.
That is smart from Jurnej Simonček, but don't forget, I mean, oh, that is a big moment from Daniel Wisner on the exit of the Ford chicane. So we have been seeing a Burst pitting before everyone else by a lap, Burst Edge Esports. So now let's see when Vargas Sim Racing come into the pits, and the same goes for Ernest Lappins. We'd expect it to be at the end of this lap. Oh, that's a car! That's a car that's funny front.
Yeah, that is the Musto Mercedes, and that's the rear wing of the Driller's car, I feel.
And I'm not sure what happened there, but one of the GT cars had a moment, spun across the track, brakes were applied. And
we're going to see what happened because it was the Musto GT car. We're on board. The Musto car loses the back end. Oh, and that is your leader. That is the Driller's number 17. Completely innocent, all parties completely innocent. The Musto car was locks on the brakes, just slid across the track. And that is Ernest Lappins with some big damage in that car. He's got no rear wing.
And all of a sudden, Jurnej Simonček is laughing because he's just pitted right before the chaos has ensued. And what has happened to Daniele Primavera, because he had only just got out of the pits. He had only just got out of the pits after getting his wheel back on the car, and then that happened. Sorry, it wasn't Primavera, it was Fabio Liuzzi who was piloting the Mercedes.
Oh God, it's horrible to see when it does happen.
Car 17 engaged pit limiter now, engaged pit limiter now.
So we're hearing
Car 17 being forced into pit limiter even though it's perfectly under control.
Well,
it's unusual. Usually that's only reserved for cars that are showing no control, and that car was perfectly under control. Only really slid because he got on the power rather early, so interesting call from our race director, Nick Newcomb, but perfectly understandable one nonetheless. We'll have to get out of the way as all of the cars come filing through. But that will promote Mantas Rakers up to the lead. The lead. Hold on a minute. What's up to Daniele Visner? Why is Mantas Rakers leading now?
Daniel Wisner had made a... Daniel Wisner was involved in the incident. Daniel Wisner has damage to the car from that incident. Remember, it was Daniel Wisner who ran into the back of Ernest Lappins. That's what caused the entire thing to start with. We've also been informed that it is the rules if you do have that kind of damage to the car that you have to engage pit limiter. So race control just reminding, and we can hear them all arguing about who gets penalties, but I just think that's a racing incident.
It's a complete racing incident. You can't expect. The Musto car was hard on the brakes for that. The Musto car had lost the rear end. You can see it on the replay. The Musto car lost the rear end, hit the brakes. You see the brake lights flare instantly as soon as he loses the car as he's trying to counter steer. And that car locks up, slides onto circuit, and the hypercar and everyone else just hits the brakes. But obviously, it's too late at that point.
And I think
if
hindsight,
that's anything other than a racing incident, I will be extremely shocked.
And I think that's just one of the things, you know, with hindsight, you know, you'd go back, Fabio Liuzzi, he'd get that moment, and
you would straighten the car out. You know,
I think you just let the car just slide out into the kind of gravel area.
But your natural instinct is to try and save the car, because he thought I can save the car and then cut the corner.
It's not even saving the car. It's just good racing practice. If you do have an incident, you slam on the brakes to stop the car rolling down the track.
Exactly. So the one rule is that you lock your brakes, because then you avoid all blame at that point. You've lost the rear. You hit the brakes. You are slowing. Everyone else has got to work around
It's an unfortunate incident, but
meanwhile, Mantas Rakers into the pit lane.
Yeah, so
same with Danny Visner.
I think it's what we expected. We knew that all of the LMP2 cars wanted to come in the pits on this very lap, and it's just a shame that the incident has happened before. But race control will have access to far more camera views.
Angles,
so
yeah, and exactly, they will have a lot more potential angle viewership than we do here in the commentary box.
It also comes down to as well, will any of the teams report that incident? Because I don't know if any teams will.
I don't think any teams would think of that as malicious in any way.
But then again,
the only person that could effectively be blamed in that situation is Danny Visner. But even then, he was probably focused on the cars in front of him, trying to make sure, or trying to see what the Merc was doing.
As a driver, you're always expected to kind of look ahead, you know, have a full understanding of what's going on around. So he would have seen that Musto GD car spin. And to be honest, I think he could have gotten out of it. I think he was just caught by how hard...
He was caught off guard
by how hard Ernest went on to the brakes.
Well, I think because obviously Ernest had to go on the brakes because of the hypercar that was there. So it was very...
Maybe he was
very
expecting
sudden,
Ernest just to avoid rather than stamping on the brakes.
I think they could have avoided that by both running that chicane.
Oh, yes.
Personally.
And while all of this has happened...
At the end of the day...
While all of this has happened, Viaducton has actually passed Mark Veit for 4th place.
So Viaducton have started to get some pace back in that car. Yannick Simic also retakes the lead in LMP2. Mantas Rakers second. Daniele Visner third, as Ernest Lappins has made his way back into pit. So that will promote Luca D'Amelio up to 4th place. He's had the most quiet race ever since he's gotten in that car, being about...
since he was on 3 wheels in qualifying.
Yeah, pretty much. He got into the car, has been about 40 seconds ahead of the... Oh, sorry, it's been a while ahead of the Pro Sim car behind, but it's just been so far behind, the rest of the field. He's not really had, that much time to sort of really do anything.
He hasn't really needed to do anything. He's having a good showing, is the Luca D'Amelio, and 32 seconds behind Daniel Wisner. And I mean, to be fair, despite that big accident, he's not too far behind. It's just such a shame that Ernest, he lost the rear wing in that, he goes on the brakes to avoid the incident and he just gets collected, so unfortunately, because if he didn't lose that rear wing, he'd still be in the battle, with Luca D'Amelio and Daniel Wisner.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently we have a GT3 driver who wants to come in for an interview with us here in the broadcasting booth. From what I can see, I'm just waiting to see if we've got the heads up, like the acceptance from the production crew, as if he's actually in the team speak. Okay, well, he'll be in the green room momentarily. I've just told him to go into the green room. So we'll see in a second when he goes in. But apparently we are going to be having a potential interview from Alexander van der Woude. So we'll see when he comes into the green room and when we get the thumbs up from our broadcasters.
Yeah, Ibrahim
and
Khan.
he is here, right, so...
Hello, hello, hello.
Well, it's been a while, Mr. van der Woude. How are you doing?
Not too bad, actually. It's, the purple brick is still going strong.
I was about to say, that car at the moment, obviously, which is the 404 Glam Racing car, is actually in 4th place in GT3 at the moment. It's only 10 seconds off the back of the 777 Nightmare car. So, podium's on the cards, my friend.
Yeah, it looks like it. It's, we kind of forced ourselves to play the tortoise and hare game and being the tortoise in that game because the car is not very fast down the straight. And
we've noticed this from the many times the Corvette has gone past you.
Oh man, every single stint. We just basically we noticed it from an early point on, but at that point we already had a skin, so we decided just to go stick with it and kind of figure out which way to go. So right now we're kind of just seeing how long we can go on a set of tires and on the fuel, and it's been working out so far because every single stint so far we've been in front of Nightmare, and then they pass us down the straight again because hey, Corvette, and we jumped in the pits. So it's been good so far, enjoyable.
Yeah, it's great because originally you guys were the team. This is the team here, the Glam team, that wanted to run the Radical. Whereas I remember being told by the said person, Alexander van der Woude himself. So, you know, why did you pick the Aston of all things over the Radical? Like, when the Radical's banned, why did you pick the Aston of all things?
Well, after we were told that the Radical wasn't an option for us this year because we were quite late joiner, and it was not in the rule book at first, like, oh, you can't do the Radical because either it was oversight by the organization or they really don't want the car in here. We had two of our teammates, Lee Russell and Callum Wilson. They know the Aston very well, so we decided to go with the Aston, not knowing that the top end speed of the thing is not very good. So it was kind of a unanimous vote to just go with the Aston and go with the flow and see where we end up. Because we are kind of a team that just here to do it for the fun of it and enjoy ourselves and have a laugh. Because as far as I've been told, Callum has never done a 24-hour race. Me and Henrik have not done proper sim racing in about a year and a half. And
I was like, you haven't done a race in RF2 in a long time yourself, actually.
No, I think it's been October last year.
I think the last one you did in terms of actual like a sim race was actually with me, funnily enough. Which was the 682.
Still won.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's been a while.
Alexander's car retired actually in that race.
That's you won.
Yeah.
I mean, we died.
But,
oh, okay, same thing.
Yeah, no, he was driving for me.
Who blew up the car, though?
Was it Jordan? Was it blew up the car, or was it you, Alex?
We unanimously agreed to blow up the car because we couldn't get along with it. But yeah, it's been fun so far. We've entered this as to enjoy ourselves. I had a weekend off. Henrik had a weekend off. Like, oh, you want to do this race? Like, yeah, sure. And we scouted Lee and Callum, and we've been just getting along with it. It's been good so far. It's enjoyable. We've got Maria, Henrik's wife, on the engineering whenever she can, and we just go with the flows and go along.
I say she's obviously been doing a good job because you guys have been absolutely flying out there, especially in terms of strategy. Getting that car up from what was, I believe, P6 in qualifying, and actually now running up in P4. So, you know, this is absolutely impressive from you guys. And obviously, this is without retirements or issues either. You guys have done this on merit alone.
Well, to be fair, we had the Mustang GT car. We lost apart from the Mustang GT car, and the rookie monsters who are on a very weird strategy, like they pitted in lap 7 or something like that. Well, they're either going very short and just planning it out to the end, but we'll see how it goes along. Long race.
I was about to say, obviously, I'm assuming, knowing how you like to do your races, your plan to get in the car in the dead of night again, aren't you?
Yeah, looks of it, we're doing about 3-hour stints per driver, and so that's about 9 hours from now, so that's about 1 o'clock-ish.
Oh, brilliant. I think actually that's when I'm back on, so I get to commentate on you
sweet.
all over again.
It's
Oh, no, that's just when, that's just as I head off of the desk, so you get to avoid me for another few hours.
No, that's good.
Well, apart from that, obviously, we'll ask the question that we've been asking every single team all weekend, whilst our little mascot here has arrived to come and say hello. What are you looking forward to the rain if it does? If it does surface.
I'll be very honest, I have not tried the car in the rain yet. So,
have you done a wet race since VEC last year?
The last wet race I've done was in a go-kart. And that drives way different than R Factor 2.
I was about to say the R Factor 2 GT3 car.
Yeah, because in a go-kart you need to drive a wet line, and in R Factor 2 you don't. Like, you don't want to drive a wet line because, logic.
What track? What track was this?
My local karting track.
He's in Denmark, so...
Okay.
Actually, that's a question. When are we next going to see you in the UK for a karting event, Alex?
COVID permitting, next year?
Ooh, be good.
I'm up to join for that.
That depends on COVID. It's literally up to travel restriction and whether I feel it's what's the right word for it? Responsible, because I have to keep in mind that I don't get affected, because literally my whole direct family is a little bit compromised in the immune system, so it didn't feel right this year to go. I had an offer laying around, but it didn't feel right to go.
It's always understandable. It's always good to hear from you, Alex, because again, having raced with you, against you, and had you race for me enough times over the years, and especially having known you when you were part of the meme tech team, or in other words, Simtech. I'm surprised you didn't manage to rope Sherwin into this race. Let's be honest.
I didn't try. The last few times, like, you want to do an R2 race? I get a resounding, expletive-filled response, which ends up with a no. So,
the relationship between you and Sherwin is good as ever right here, then.
It's always been good.
Well, thank you so much, Alex, for joining us again. That's Alexander van der Velde from the number 404 Glam Racing Aston Martin GT3. One of the only Aston Martins in the field, obviously one of the very few, obviously including the GTE cars on the circuit. Hopefully those guys can end up on the podium, but again, Alex, it's been a pleasure having you. So, Yousuf, we are now with 20 hours and 38 minutes to go, which means we've got half an hour left of us two being sat at this desk watching computer screens as a job.
I would like to think of it as watching a TV screen.
Fair enough. I mean, whatever floats your boat.
There's some talking involved as well, I feel.
There's a bit of talking.
And randomly screaming when Musto do something.
Or do something, The second
Not
time.
necessarily
Actually,
positive.
apparently, from what I was reading in the YouTube chat as well, the car wasn't even repaired after the damage repair. 670 seconds of damage repair wasn't fixed.
So they went out.
They went out thinking the car was fixed, which it was. It had 4 wheels. Apparently it wasn't fixed.
I mean, you generally think that 4 wheels means that the car's fixed, right?
Well, yeah, you usually would.
But, okay, maybe that is what caused the secondary incident, but absolutely devastating for Musto in the GT3 cars when, they were running in second and looking so comfortable. Drive-through penalty, they deal with that. They're still looking strong. And, the Musto effect coming into play. I'm keeping an eye on Jose Berenguer because he's not too far from Tom Kapusta, and this is a battle for second place in the GTE class.
I was about to say, these guys as close as ever. The Satellite Racing Porsche and the World of Sim Racing Porsche. Again, these guys are almost a minute behind David Greco's Ferrari now, and that is the most impressive thing I think I've seen.
More than a minute behind now.
I might have said this problem again. Meanwhile, there's the Musto Mercedes resurfacing from the depths of the pit lane, where it spent probably the last 20 minutes at least.
Are Musto last? Yes.
That's a shame.
They are 3 minutes behind B32 Racing, who are 20 seconds behind Teleforeningen.
Oh, that is such a shame to hear for the Musto guys, because they have been running so well, even after the drive-through penalty. You can actually see one of the Idols LMP2 in the background as well of Luca D'Amelio. But these guys are so close. They're actually about to go past the DSR Dream Team. That car's been having a bit more of a nightmare of a race, I think, than having a bit of a dream race. I think the numbers need to be swapped around in terms of the...
I think I was making that joke at Matsusaka as well, that the team names are the wrong way around.
Yeah, it seems to be that the team names are the wrong way around.
Maybe they're not talking about Dream Team or Nightmare for themselves, but for...
Oh, they're talking about the enemy. So, like, one of the cars is a dream to race against because it's always it's slower than the others, whereas the Nightmare's actually quick.
Yes.
And that's no offense to the teams. Again, both teams are quick. They probably had issues, but it just seems to sort of be the way things are. Meanwhile, that would be the World of Sim Racing iZone Porsche going past the Dream Team Corvette, and actually can see the back of that satellite Porsche pretty clearly now.
Yeah, you can. And
the rain hasn't even gone or even arrived yet.
I was about to bring this up. Where was the rain I was promised? Like, guys, I know.
Yeah, where's the rain?
I know our viewers
where's the rain that the
disappointed.
manager of the series, John, promised us for at least a week now.
Like, myself and Alex, we are equally disappointed as our viewers that there is no rain. Like, we were told, you know, it'd be rain. It might rain in qualifying. It'd rain at the start of the race. We were told that it would be thunderstorms, I believe was the word that was used. And I see no thunder or storm.
It's
so no
a shame.
thunderstorm.
Although Musso are 6 laps down now. But they are not giving up, and that I respect the most. Musto not giving up. Again, to go exactly 6 laps down, but Musto never gives up, and that is what we love to see from teams here. And what we also love to see from teams here is teams getting very close on track and very personal, because it's going to be side by side towards Indianapolis between the World of Sim Racing team and Satellite, and an easy move around the outside of Indianapolis is going to do that quite nicely.
Yep, and that's Jose Berengoa up into second place, and almost 70 seconds behind David Greco, who has this race, well, I want to say in the bag, but we're only 4 hours.
We're only 4 hours in, so there's plenty
of
time for things to go wrong.
Plenty of time, 20 hours.
We've learned that often enough that things can go wrong within the final 20 minutes, let alone the final 20 hours.
Yep. Okay, so Tom Kapusta now down to P3. Martin Hemmingsen still going strong despite Ibrahim Khan having pitted a few laps ago. Is there anything else happening? And the answer is a negative one. Right, Alex.
I think it's time.
It's time for our heart-to-heart, isn't it? Wait. Oh, advert. Yeah, that's our heart. Yeah.
I was about to say we need to have a bit of a commercial break first, maybe to refresh our waters and everything else, and give you some time to get some drinks, some food, and by the time you come back, these guys will probably be pretty close again. So we'll see you in a few minutes' time for the final half hour, at least, of mine and Yousuf's first stint here at a GTR 24H, 24 hours of Le Mans.
The Endurance E-Racing World Championship Le Mans 24 Hours is brought to you by ESR Esports Network, Wheat Gaming, SimLab, Husingfeld, Simplexity, Acetec, and AMD Ryzen Radio.
Do you hate watching laggy streams of tournaments on 13-inch screens?
Oh my god!
Of course you do. But you don't have to worry about that anymore.
He has a jump, son!
Simplexity is a Danish designer and manufacturer of high-grade sim racing platforms. Their 3 different levels of platforms come in a variety of colors and configurations. Choose from the V4, built from 40 by 40mm extruded aluminium profiles, the V8 built from 80 by 40mm profiles, and the high-tier V12 built from 160 by 40mm extruded aluminium profiles. Prices range from 470 to 750 euros. Go to facebook.com/simplexity.eu and start a messenger chat to inquire more about the options for colors and customization.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the GTR 24H as we make our way to, or I should say towards, the 4th hour of the race. The sun's still out and shining here at the Circuit de la Sarde. And, well, all of the gaps have stretched. No real battles going on at the moment. Nightmare are closing in onto DIS SR Lab. But that is only because DIS just made a pit stop, so I think they will now probably pull away. Although, as I say that, it's looking a little bit close, and there you can see the Nightmare car, and right in front of it, DIS SR Lab, and right behind them, the other DIS SR Lab, the 46 car, which is very easily recognizable by the coloring, and well, this might be a potential move happening as the Nightmare car will sweep around the outside as we approach the forward curves, and there is going to be nothing the DISSR Lab can do about it. In fact, they might lose the position to their teammates as well, who are a couple of laps behind at the moment. How many laps? I think they are about... says they're about 1 lap behind, so I'll take the timing sheet's words for it. Still leading the GT3 class though is of course Borja Milan, who is absolutely flying as always, over 2 minutes ahead of the Nightmare car that we just saw passing the DISSR Lab car. And I do think both DIS and Nightmare had just lapped the second DIS car, but Nightmare in the Corvette really able to show things here at Le Mans. And we were just talking you know, only a few minutes ago to, just trying to remember now, it was Alexander van der Voorde, and he was talking about how the Corvette is an absolute monster in a straight line and there's just not too much you can do, and DIS have just found that out the hard way. However, up at the front, Martin Hemmingsen has made his pit stop much later than Ibrahim Khan. A good 4 or 5 laps, maybe 6 laps afterwards. And is now 23 seconds behind the leader. And the second time seemed to be pretty similar from the pair of them. What else can we bring up for you lovely viewers? Of course, if you haven't already, you can use the hashtag GTR24H on Twitter to get involved. We'd love to hear from you. Your thoughts? Are you here to support? Maybe just, you know, send us some pictures of how you are watching the race unfold. Maybe even some of your own opinions on some of the incidents that we have seen, as we have seen a fair few incidents, a couple involving Musto and a few involving Bobby Trunley from that number 68 E-Team Brit car. It's not Bobby Trunley still out, of course, you know, we haven't even hit the 4-hour mark, so perfectly normal to see the starting drivers still in the cars. You know, sometimes some teams, they do have up to 5 drivers, so they'll just do a 5-hour stint, handover, 5-hour stint, handover, and so it goes. Where are our next battles? I think you can take a look at ID Simsport because they're catching up to PRB cars. The gap is just over 1 second, which you can see visualized on your screen. And if we take a look at the last lap, what was it? Well, apparently it was invalidated for PRB. There is no lap time for them. But in the first sector, ID Sim Sport, they took 3/10 out of PRB, and now the gap is under 1 second. It looks like it will continue to close as well. The second ID Sim Sport car is 20 seconds down on this group, or on this battle, I should say. But aside from that, not too much really happening. ID Sim Sport now just on that verge of 1 second behind PRB. And let's see what that middle sector looks like. We will get that sector 2 delta right as we cross the sector 2 delta point, which is here on the exit of the Mulsanne hairpin. It was 1/10 quicker from ID Sim Sport. ID Sim Sport in the Aston Martin Vantage. As there we see one of the hypercars flying past. PRB cars though, they are in the BMW M8 GTE, which seems to have a little bit more pace in the straight lines. So the gap still at 1 second, not looking to change it too much, but this final sector is where we get to the more downforce reliant part of the circuit, and is probably where this Aston Martin Vantage will be that little bit quicker than the BMW up ahead. So, into the Porsche curves we go. ID Sim Sport still a second behind, but let's just see if that gap visually closes at the very least. Able to hold a much tighter line is the Aston Martin. And now into the Corvette curves. And the gap has actually dropped down by a couple of tenths, now just 7/10 between the pair of them. And let's see how things look after the Ford chicane. And the gap has actually increased up to 1.2. On my screen it's 0.8 of a second, and it has just updated now as well on your screen. So last time around, ID Sim Sport, they were able to take, well, actually it was a good 0.8 of a second. Well, 0.8 of a second pretty much on the dot. So good stuff from ID Sim Sport, slowly but surely closing in, and that is all they really need to do. Martin Emmingson as well is closing in onto Ibrahim Khan by a second a lap, and I reckon that GTR, or that hypercar of Martin Emmingson in the number 10, which is Pinson's Drillers Esports, I reckon they've been taking a long stint on those tires. I think they've been maybe double, maybe triple stinting, and now there is a fresh set of boots for Martin Emmingson. Ibrahim Khan should have a slightly lower fuel load, so I would have to imagine the pace difference is coming through from tire difference alone. But back on your screen, we are looking at ID Sim Sport, the 177 car on the back of PRB, and this is for, I think, P6 in the GTE class. Here we go, ID Sim Sport, they're going to take a look, but they pull out of the draft and they just kind of lose that momentum. An LMP2 car will fly by, and now ID Sim Sport, they want to look to the inside, down on the Mulsanne straight. Side by side, neck and neck, but ID Sim Sport should have the momentum. And of course the inside as well. Into the chicane they go, and ID Sim Sport, they get the job done. Will they run a little bit too wide? No, not really. And PRB won't have any way back into the fight. Good stuff from ID Sim Sport. Now they can try to catch up to DGTL, who are almost 2 minutes up ahead, but PRB cars, they aren't done yet. They're looking to come back now on the run down towards Indianapolis, and PRB cars on the inside, or down the inside, they pick up the move. Sorry, into the Mulsanne hairpin, I do apologize. But this battle does look like it will continue for a while yet, because of course we do know that that BMW of PRB cars is a little bit quicker in a straight line. So if right now ID Sim Sport can get the job done going into Indianapolis, when the next section of the track is going to be, you know, the tighter the Porsche curves, etc., that will be pretty good for them. But they can't find the move into Indianapolis, maybe into Arnage, but again, still too far back. Maybe even in the run into the Porsche curves, or the Porsche curves, sorry, they could pull off the move. They've got one of the hypercars right behind them. That looks like the E-Brit team car, or E-Team Brit. I always get that the wrong way around.
E-Team Brit. It is E-Team.
And I do know they are a little bit peculiar with that one as well.
They're good fun. Yeah, I can't even hear myself. I hear myself doing no, I can't. There we go. So, thanks, Peter.
There you go.
There we go. I've just come back with some news.
Ooh.
So you know the incident in the pit lane that we were sort of lulling over.
Can we hold that for a split second, because DIS are making a move on Lee Russell in the 404 car.
Indeed.
So DIS, this is heading now down into, where are we heading into? That is the Mulsanne chicane, the first of the Mulsanne chicanes. And this is the battle between DIS, SR Lab, and Glam Racing, with that glamorous purple and white livery. DIS, I think actually DIS got overtaken there actually.
Yes, because Alexander Valverde actually mentioned that they're about to have a battle for second in GT3. So, yeah, so that makes sense. This car is now in... The purple brick is flying!
It really is. Glam Racing, they didn't look all that in qualifying, but in the race...
Well, it was Alexander Valverde that qualified the car. He's never been a qualifying driver in his life, so it's great to see that, you know, that car is flying under race pace, with Lee absolutely flooring it. But some news in regards to the investigation on E-Team Brit versus Scuderia Basilia. No further action.
Okay. Good to hear. No more penalties will be coming through, at least
not yet anyway.
Now, yeah.
Because we did also just have a no further action on the 188 versus the 888, so no further action there as well.
Also, I just want to mention Martin Hemmingsen again. He's still closing that gap down to Ibrahim Khan. 0.4 of a second was the gap between the pair of them last lap, which is super close. You know, still a 3.5 minute lap. That is a very small margin that he is closing in by, but Daniel Wisner has closed in onto Roy. Oh wait, they're both in the pits. At least this time
I wondered why when you mentioned that. I looked. I was like, I wondered why when you mentioned that. I looked up and saw that Luca D'Amelio was in second. I was like, nah, that's not right. I thought, even in the 15 minutes that I've been away doing admin, like checking things with the race control, I really didn't think that Luca would have got that much time.
If your team get a podium, will you do something special for us on stream?
Oh god, are you really putting those on me as well? I will if people bring it in on the hashtag GTR24 hashtag on Twitter.
Time to type a tweet.
It excludes any of the commentary team or any of the admin team or behind the scenes team at GTR.
Time to make a new account.
I would know it's you. Because it would be Silky Muriel or something like that.
Silky Muriel. I like the idea of Silky, but what is a Muriel?
Well, you basically swap the C and the M round.
Yeah, I know, but Silky sounds good.
The Muriel, I don't know what
Muriel.
You're asking me what Muriel is.
Well, you're the one who said it. How should I know what it is?
I don't know, I thought you're smart at this. Meanwhile, Jurne Simoncic into the pit lane for the Burst Edge Esports team, leaving Mantis Rakers out in the lead for Rookie Monsters and Luca D'Amelio to come on pick up second for the Eidos Motorsport 717. The 717 crew, the highest that car has run all day.
Yeah, it has indeed, and I'm just trying to see if there are any other battles, really. We've still got this little battle going on between PIB cars and ID Sinsport, but after some LMP2 cars have come by, PIB do find themselves with a nice little gap as your boy Luca D'Amelio is into the pits.
Be interesting indeed. So yeah, so he's actually coming in with Simontrich. So as I look at Marcos Lanzi as he comes through in the 33 car, has that car pitted? I'm not too sure because of the way when the pit cycle started.
Something else I've noticed as well is Martin Hemmingsen is closing down Ibrahim Khan by a
He is
rail.
flying at the moment, is Hemmingsen.
Well, and here we were thinking that Henry Sinnick was a quick driver for Pinsim's Drillers Esports. Seems like it's actually Martin Hemmingsen.
Yeah, Blake Checkett is now in the Pinsim Drillers Esports number 17, and that car is actually still doing rather well in terms of the pits. Obviously, that car came in on sync with everyone else, even with the damage, but just lagged behind because, of course, it was on the pit limiter for the majority of the lap. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see where that car actually ends up at the end of this full, this full pit cycle after a full stint of actually running, if you get me.
Yeah, the 17 car is doing pretty well, all things considered. Have they made their pit stop? No, so I think they still might need to pit, but I'm not sure.
And Michi Hoyer is now in the number 5 Burst Edge Esports car. Good to see Michi in the race now. He has been patiently waiting
he has.
for his turn. It'll be interesting to see what he can do in as well. Again, Alex Siebel and Dennis Jordan still also to feature in that car as well.
Yeah, and look at the gap that Michi Hoyer has, and it's all just because they pitted on that lap and they didn't get involved in that incident that happened with Musto. And I mean,
well, they were pitted at the time that happened.
Yeah, exactly. If they had stayed out, they presumably would have been involved in it as well. You'd have to think, because it was just so sudden. But Michi Hoyer with a 60-plus second gap over Luca D'Amelio.
Wait, hold on a minute. How are we third on... What? Why is Chinchik dropped so far back?
Tyre change, probably.
So they might be off sync now then. Look, but we're about as confused as all, because again, I'm just looking at this now, and obviously Mantis, I'm assuming, is pitted, because they usually were one of the first to come in.
Mantis has not pitted because they would not be in first place. So Mantis still has to.
So that means that we're in second. Oh god. So he just comes in.
You're in second or third.
We're in second legitimately right now because Luca came in with Michi. Oh, sorry, with Yerne. What?
Yeah, but the question is, when Mantis pits, does he come out in front of Luca or behind Luca? You're in third at the minimum, but you might be in second.
Very, very true. And Michi's coming through Arnage, and Luca is only just coming through, I think, the Mulsanne hairpin. Yeah. So we'll be in the pits. Yeah. Mantis actually hasn't stopped yet, I might add. He is, well, we'll see where he stopped. Oh, and that is the 888 car in the pits with no rear wing and a smoking engine. Ooh. That's Turn Lawyer. Which is very rare mistake.
Where is the rear wing of that car?
Exactly what I mentioned, it's missing. What has happened to Turn Lawyer? I was away when this happened. Answers on a postcard, please.
Or on hashtag GTR24H on Twitter. Okay, so Mantis Records is in the pits. Where
Michi Hoyer's just coming past the pit entry now. Yep. So he's coming through the force gains past the commentary box. See him to my left, looking very fast indeed, clambering the curb.
Yeah, but don't forget that the 717 of Luca D'Amelio.
He's only just coming down towards the Porsche curves, just lapping the Musto Ferrari, which I believe is still leading GTE. Yes, it is, by a minute.
Also, let's not forget as well that Blake Checkett
is off the jacks. So, yes.
Okay, he's ahead. Cool. So, Blake Checkett, though, he's only 16 seconds behind Luca D'Amelio here, so...
And is...
Has he pitted, though? We still don't know.
You said he's yet to pit, didn't you?
I assumed he's yet to pit, but maybe he has pitted. Maybe he didn't.
I mean, they pitted on the same... When they pitted the lap after bursted in that pit, that damage pit. So I'd assume they're yet to pit, but they won't take tyres this stop.
well, we'll have to wait and see just exactly what happens when they do pit, because...
Yep, they're in. They are in. Blake Checkett pulls that car into pit lane. We'll come through the chicanes. Oh, gets very squirrely. Hits the brakes onto the limiter. So I'm expecting these guys to not take tyres this time by. Mainly for the style purposes, they had to when they came in for the pits, for the damage. So they'll probably double stint this set. Meanwhile, another car in the back is the Pro Sim, the 007. That car is into the pit lane from 6th place.
Just taking a quick update at the front of the field in the Senna Hypercar class. 17.6 seconds separates Ibrahim Khan and Martin Hemmingsen. Martin is still chipping away at that gap, but it seems to be going one way and then the other, so the pace is evenly matched between the two teams at the moment, or the two drivers to be more specific.
Yep, indeed. I'm just having a look.
Michael Sedlacek is on the back of Tom Kapusta here.
Yeah, we are looking at it now on the stream, and of course, see the Deuces Motorsport Club Porsche right on the back of the satellite Porsche. Out. That lasted long. In comes the satellite car from that position.
I got excited for a second.
I mean, we can have a look at the PAB car versus the 177 ID SimSports car. Those two are very close on track at the moment. The BMW not that far ahead of the Aston Martin. Getting very, very close indeed. The Aston pulls out, just gives him a bit of a look, just says, hello, I am here, you know.
Yeah, but we've seen that this Aston just really struggles in that straight line, and it's same in the GT3 class and same in the GTE class. He just can't stay ahead. He's got ahead once before going into one of the Mulsanne chicanes, and then he just loses it right after and closes in through Sector 3, but it's all too little too late, really. So, ID SimSport, they need to find some way through, maybe just go with a different strategy, pit one lap before or after, and see what happens.
Yep, exactly. And we've only got 8 minutes until the hour, Yousuf. Only 8 minutes until we stop. Or at least us two do, anyway.
Yeah.
And then we get the amazing commentary duo of Ewan O'Leary and Cameron Rogers.
Yep. And Ewan and Cameron, you guys will be in more than capable hands. Some might say better hands, really. Because while we've been joking around about, I'm sure Cameron and Ewan will have their serious headsets on. And we'll be bringing you the next 4 hours.
You're expecting Cameron to be serious?
I've only commentated with Cameron once.
He's the least serious
an hour, so I don't really know.
I say this now, he's going to reply to me in Discord in a minute.
Yeah, I've commentated with Ewan plenty of times in the sprint series, and he's always serious.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how the dynamic works. The Joker, Mr. Cameron, and Mr. Serious Ewan.
The Joker and the Thief for the night.
Joker and Batman out in one.
So you will have the duo for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and then it will be back to myself and Yousuf to take you up until 1 a.m. 1 a.m. Central European Summer Time. With Cameron.
Okay. I'm very confused right now because Ibrahim Khan is lapping slower than Martin Hemmingsen, but the gap is increasing. This I find very confusing.
Well, I mean,
because usually when a car's faster than another car, they end up getting closer to them.
Yeah. I don't know.
Well, let's see what the Sector 3 time is, because it might... Okay, yeah, there you go. He lost 2.5 seconds in the final sector. That would explain why the gap is back up to 20 seconds. Maybe it was back markers or something of the sort.
It'll be interesting to see indeed. And, well, just keeping an eye on gaps and stuff all up and down the order. Paul Holt has also got another LMP2 for company in the form of Michele Molle, the Musto Racing LMP2 car.
I also want to point out that Roy de Monk is now up into P6, I want to say, ahead of Blake Checkett by about 17 seconds. So Roy de Monk in that number 11, that's One Move Esports, and One Move, if they can get about, well, we're talking about 46 points, pardon me, They jump ahead of Team Rookie Monsters in that 37 car, but is looking unlikely, so they just need to get 32 points to jump ahead of ID Synsport, who are way, way down the order and aren't looking to actually get any points. So this P6 from Roy de Monk might be enough to get One Move Esports second place in the championship, and that's why I really wanted to highlight the number 11 car.
But I think, as it is actually the hour of the hour in real life again, because we started. No, it's a serious thing. We are going to take it to a quick commercial break, and when you return, you will like the subtle tones of Yousuf here and the annoying latency of myself. And you will have Ewan O'Leary and Cameron Roger to bring you the action for the next few hours of the race here at the 2020 GTR 24 Endurance E-Racing World Championship in 24 hours of Le Mans.